All right, we should be live now. Voila. Okay. Uh, it maybe my laptop isn't keeping up, so that could be a little buggy. Welcome to the Mother Spirit meeting, everyone watching, and Joanne's coming soon. So we have these meetings. We're gonna have these meetings on every, how to call this? They're every the sixth angle of the lunation. So if we, the lunation angle between the sun and the moon, am I glitchy? Yeah. Um, yeah, I need a new laptop. So the angle between the sun and moon, um, yeah, so every 60 degrees. So from the conjunction and then 60 degrees and then 120, 180, which is the full moon, 240, which is where we're at now. So we call this a lunation of Sagittarius. And then 300, yeah, 300 degrees, which is the lunation of Aquarius. So it's not going to be exact, obviously, because sometimes like that fell exactly in the middle of the night. Um, so we're going to be going after that, which is what they call a combust moon, because Mother Spirit wants to focus on integration, and the difficult part of the lunation cycle is the combust moon, in a sense, in a manner of speaking. It is the best time to begin fasting. That is when the ekadashis, there's two ekadashis per lunation. They're at the 120 and 300 degree mark, which is the lunation of Leo and the lunation of Aquarius, which are the sort of the most hopeful, or I'm lacking the right word here, but they have something in common, obviously. And um, it's going to be a good day because of that. It's going to be a good day for everybody who is on the path to get together and sort of help each other on that day. And it's also a nice day to sort of have a lot of retrospect, a lot of a lot of things has happened last night, as you have all experienced. This was the solstice. Happy solstice, by the way. And yeah, so let's welcome Joanne back. And by the way, so this is Joanne's contact or website, humphreys@creom.net. And of course, we have the Mother Spirit, which is diversifying on multiple platforms now. And then there's me, Gold Dragon. That's my nickname, Olivier Francoeur. And I'm very active on Twitter and Facebook, so try and catch me there. But everybody is welcome to apply to join the Mother Spirit group from any platform they wish. Eventually, they'll all be linked together through the magic of technology. And yeah, so I'll pass it to Joanne now. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, welcome everyone. So good to be here and really excited about the summer and being in the sun and just, yeah, deepening the practice and going slow, giving myself permission to go slow. And that doesn't mean that you go slowly. It's really interesting. It's like when I was kayaking the other day, I'm like, wow, the slower I go with my stroke and the more concentration that I give my stroke, the faster I go in the water. So it was, yeah, the kayaking has been a really beautiful meditation time for me. I do a lot of thinking and my quiet time out there on the water and just losing myself in the stroke, in the flow. Even, and it's interesting because I'm on a river, so there's like a flow happening, and sometimes I'm paddling against the flow, but you're always in flow. It's so it's so cool. I love how the river contradicts itself with back eddies and all that kind of stuff. And that's what life is really like. Sometimes you get caught in a back eddy, and it's okay to be caught in a back eddy. You never know what you're going to find in a back eddy. I found mugwort in a back eddy uh, last week. So it's really cool to get out in nature and make contact with it. Don't just walk through it, but actually touch it with your skin and make contact. And through our waters, we can do that too, through fertilizing our plants and the garden around us. Even if you don't have one, a garden yourself. In Palma, we did this. We had to move, and we had all of our plasma stored up, the extra that we hadn't used. And so before we left, we took our bottles out and gave some fertilizer to some of the trees in the neighborhood. And I feel like that was the first time where I feel like I connected with something, like where I made an energy connection that feels like it's still there. It's really interesting. And I love Fiona Gardner's work in this area, where even though the people, the plasma that she gets from people and she looks at it, it's still evolving. It's still them evolving in that little jar. It's still connected to you no matter how far away from it you are. So, yeah, I just really find that fascinating, and it resonates with how I feel about it. So, yeah. I wanted to get Lee to extrapolate a little bit about the planetary energies and different herbs and plants, and maybe he can briefly go over the ones that we use regularly, like moringa and well, today we had a member talk about stinging nettle, which is another favorite of mine. Do you want to jump in and just talk a little bit about herbs and their planetary energies that are beneficial for fasting in particular, maybe?
Okay. Um, well, haritaki is the big one because it is, and moringa, like you said. Those are the two main, well, yeah, they cover three main planetary energies: the sun, Jupiter, and Saturn.
You cut out for just a second. That's
It's the network, I think. So maybe I shouldn't talk because my my connection is bad.
okay. Try.
No, it's just not do it.
Okay, so it's a one-man show today. Anyway, I really love this way of approaching plants from the energy from a planetary, like from the luminaries, from that energy that we get, and the energy that we're born into when we're born, where the planets are at that moment is really significant. And so you can find the planets that are weak in your chart or like could use some enhancement. And then you can find plants that match that energy to build your energy. And as Lee was saying, moringa, very what, Jupiter and Sun, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Jupiter is very joyful energy that I get from moringa, really uplifting, and like sun energy, really energetically empowering. I first started kind of using it seriously when I was on a long fast. I just wanted to do plasma only. Um, but uh, after like 9 days, I felt like too much detoxing, too draining, and I still wanted to ride my bike and go around town and enjoy myself. And I found that if I added moringa in particular, an infusion of that, it really helped my energy. And I was also taking fresh pressed sugarcane juice, some kind of sugar to like a natural sugar that also helped me uh, stay vibrant. Um, so those are just some tips. When people are starting out in this journey, it's always really interesting that like you're there's all kinds of different routes. Some people get really enthusiastic because they have results right away, and then they hear about all of the other things that people are having and they're like, okay, I want to go deep into my practice. But going deep into the practice, there's a stage that a lot of people get worried about because you end up shedding a lot of weight and you kind of go through a phase of looking really like skeletal. And that freaks out family members and close friends that aren't um, practicing this and used to that. So we avoid it, and we've avoided it. We're like, okay, where is a safe place and a safe time for us to do this? So it's different for all of us, but finding that you can slowly make your way there through shorter fasts and kind of uh, get there. But I think for those that want to go the breatharian journey, eventually you're going to have to face this period where the body really gets cleaned up so deeply that you really are quite thin. And that's sort of like the breaking moment, before the body starts to build that up again. I think people get freaked out at that stage and they're like, oh my God. But it's a natural part of it and not not to be worried about. So what time do we have here? 10:22. Maybe we end the live stream early since no and we just
So I think I'm good now
oh yeah
because I changed something and how is it?
really good.
Okay. I just wanted to touch on something that you made me think about earlier. Before the show, you were talking about the smell, and in the context, not in any context, but particularly using aged plasma as a detergent or as a cleaner, which is one of its most um, indisputable qualities. Like it's so it was done by civilizations. They didn't use anything else but that to wash their clothes. So they, of all possibilities, that's what they picked because it was better. And that's what we do too. We pick our aged plasma to wash our clothes because it's the best thing to wash our clothes. And there's very often this because it's based on people's perception, and it's a huge sort of, we can generalize this whole thing because it really touches upon how people perceive health and what health really is, and the distinction between health and healing. So when they talk about the plasma smelling and being worried about the smell, it's because we live in a sick world. 99.99% of the people are quite toxic in their bodies. They have a lot of toxicities. They walk around with pounds and pounds of feces, just that. And all of the body fat is essentially hiding toxicity. So the plasma is toxic, not because plasma is toxic, but because they're toxic. Our bodies are toxic. So every part of it is. So when the plasma is aging, it's healing. And when healing happens, it's dirty, it's smelly, because poison is coming out. So people have this, it's called availability heuristics in scientific parlance. It means that people they only know what they know. They only have available the data that they have experienced. And all of the experience they have with plasma is of, like, let's say, oh, we were in China once, and it's quite a unsanitary place. And they have these public bathroom, and there's pee everywhere. There's plasma on the floor, like inches of it. You have to walk in plasma to get to the urinary, which I guess most people just don't even bother to get to. So all this plasma is sick, and it's giving off all of this healing, this fume. Like, imagine if you walked into a room full of people puking and defecating because they're sick, they're healing. And that's what people think of when they think of plasma, and they have no conception, generally speaking, of a healthy plasma, which is what happens when the plasma sits long enough and is allowed to fast. So the plasma fasts, the deposits, all of the impurities go down. We siphon it. We tell people to siphon the top, and they can even add for the filtration, but to kind of separate the deposits at the bottom. Then what's left is a very clean plasma. So this also translates very well into how people believe, like you were saying, people are afraid of going breatharian because they have to go through this skeletal phase where all of the dead and damaged tissue are shedded off. And there's that phase that just we have to pass through to get to the other side. And that's why a lot of people don't want to heal, because they have this conception that health is when you don't get sick. But to not get sick and poison ourselves, which is what most people do, they don't get sick because they keep using what do they call it? Steroids and all kinds of poisons that have been researched that are very good at stopping symptoms, at stopping the body from healing, basically by crippling its healing capacity. Then they think they've achieved health because the body has stopped healing, meaning the smelly stuff has stopped coming out of their vomit, of their sweat, in their everywhere. Yeah, there's this huge fear of the process that I don't want to get sick, and yet that's the only way to get healthy, is to get sick. And the Tao Te Ching is very clear about this. In order to be new, you have to allow yourself to be broken, right? In order to be made whole, you have to be put into pieces. So yeah, there's a huge conception of what health is, and that is not the same as healing. And plasma that's healing is not the same as healthy plasma. And even then, even a plasma that's still healing and quite a strong odor will still clean after a couple of weeks just because the amount of ammonia that's in there. So it's quite fascinating. It's very surprising at first to try this as a cleaner, but for sure, once it's past, say, 2, 3 months and it's been aged properly and it's been separated from the sediments, that smell is healthy. And there's sometimes residues of, the way that person was living back then, but the smell is healthy. And the smell doesn't stay when we wash, obviously, just like it's even less it doesn't last like soap use all kinds of oils and fragrance that sort of stick to the clothes, but the plasma doesn't do that at all. So I just wanted to touch on that. It's a very interesting subject and something I want to add into my book. And yeah, so we'll go into the private part of the show, unless you want to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to show this one comment here because I think it's interesting to it's kind of this resonates with me. It's like eating standing up. You don't eat standing up. So something about this really resonates with me. Drink your plasma while sitting in malasa malasana. Am I saying that right? Malasana pose. I'm going to try that out. I really like that idea. Being relaxed. Yeah, makes sense to me. So thank you so much for sharing that. And what other comments? Oh, here is interesting. Scared to drink mine aged. I have a jar at least 5 months old in the cabinet. Go start with actually aged. Okay, maybe start with a drop under your tongue or something like that. As a icebreaker. Um, there's nothing to fear there.
Or
It
on
kind
your
of
skin.
yeah, yeah. Massage it into your skin. Also really powerful, but actually consuming it, um, yeah, it's kind of like a whiskey or something. I don't
and
drink anymore, but it feels like that.
and do the siphon. So I don't know if you don't know, it's we use a hose, like a clear hose from whatever hardware store, one of those small clear hoses, and you don't go to the bottom of the bottle where the sediments are, and then you
Hmm.
suck a little bit and just collect the top. It's a procedure that's used in chemistry to separate something that sits at the top, because you don't want those sediments. Those sediments have been purified out of the plasma. Sorry. The plasma is the liquid part. The body is not interested in solids. It always discards solids. That's what the feces are. It's always interested in the liquid and then the gases that's in the air. Obviously, we breathe. So that's why the plasma is cleaning itself out, because it came out. If somebody's really clean and they aged their plasma, there would be very little sediments, and the sediments don't smell good. They're impurities that have been separated out. So I used to drink them. They're not harmful at all because they're mostly inert, but they're not necessary. So now the body has to get rid of them again. Um, and they once they're separated out and the plasma ages, it really helps to, I don't know, like give it that nice feeling, like pure, clean, healthy, super powerful, full of life force. And then we're getting into drinking H plasma from others, from where we're trying to find cow plasma, but we're trying to find it. There's an astrological correspondence. Like there's somebody out there who's better donor for us all, and we all like have different energies. My plasma is very fiery, so like it gets really interesting once you get into the aged plasma, because you can trust aged plasma because it's been healed. If you know the person, you know how they heal, that how they eat. That's really great. And then if that person ages their plasma, then, I wouldn't be scared to drink aged plasma from almost anyone. Um, if I had to, I don't have to. I have lots of my own, but yeah, just uh, just a thought.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that too. Like, for the aged plasma, for this is actually one of my favorite ways to drink aged plasma. Is I'll put my aged, like an ounce or two in distilled water, and then I'll add a splash of apple cider vinegar, and it's like a spritzer. It's like an effervescent spritzer. So there's different ways that you can introduce your aged other than just drinking it straight. You don't have to do that. Um, yeah, go ahead, Lee. You do the laundry
Put
mostly.
it in any way you like. Really, it's good to mix it with the water. So it depends on the washing machine, but yeah, where the soap goes, that's it. That's a that's a good bet.
And what like volume ratio kind of?
Volume, well, it also again depends on the strength. So it sort of reaches maximum strength after 3 months. It's quite strong after 2, 3 weeks already. But for a full big load, like it can be 2, 3 ounces of strong aged. You could use 1 ounce; it would still wash. You could use 5 ounces if it was really dirty, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. Like let's say 1 ounce for 3 gallons of water, something like that. And Katrina was talking about the sediments and like why are the sediments there? Like I said, they're being purified out of the plasma, and yeah, the plasma is still intelligent. It's still alive. If it starts to smell bad and it rots, that's mean it's dying. If it doesn't, that means it's alive. So it's good to keep it sealed. It keeps more fire, and then give it air once in a while to just accelerate. There's some oxidization that helps, but it doesn't really need oxygen. It's actually a very fascinating substance to talk about the fact that there's almost nothing that can live without and with oxygen, and that's one of them.
Let's keep going with some questions.
Yeah, we have more question. Hi, I'm new to this, having a hard time finding info. Is there maybe a book? I got curious. Tasted fresh plasma to see had a strong detox reaction. Yeah, that's normal. Um, it's like the first time is like this first puff, like chasing the dragon. It's so strong because it's a shock for the body to realize suddenly. The body is more intelligent um, than the programmed mind. The body will like remember things that our programmed mind is blocking out. So then as soon as the body tastes its water, it knows that something is happening, and now it's able, like the detox reaction is something that the body's been wanting to do for a long time. The body doesn't really care about all of these things that we want and our lust, and it just wants to heal. And it's giving us a lot of slack, really, considering how much we've been beating it up. Like salt, and we talk about this a lot, but let's mention it. Salt, which is also chemically known as sodium chloride, is a hardcore protoplasmic poison. Now, it is good at protecting us from the astral dimension. It is an astral protector or blocker, if you will. So people have used it and use it in protection magic. So if people are dying, and when the ambulance shows up, because most people are also addicted to sodium chloride, they give them a saline because people are coming into shock. They're starting to see the astral when we get to the threshold of death, we start to see much more clearly uh, the astral beings, and that essentially is why a lot of people die, is because they're just in shock that all of this is going on about them, and they sort of forget about their lives, and they just can't come back. So the salt brings them back into their body and blocks the energetic seeing, which can keep them in this world a little while longer. The other way of treating this is to give morphine, which calms them down so that they, even though they see things which are astonishing, they don't panic and die. So it's not because salt is saving them, it's because salt is blocking the astral, which is very useful for some people because they're not ready to face their demons. But
Sorry.
yeah, one of the good plants to replace salt is haritaki, which gives a lot of grounding, and cannabis, actually. So it's a really good way to stop salt. That's actually how we quit, as we got here and where hash is available in Canada. It's a bit more civilized, and we just quit salt. We had no more cravings for it. If we wanted to relax, we would just have a puff of hash.
And I just wanted to add to Bright Eyes information. You can find our Telegram group on through our website, Mother Spirit. And in our Telegram group, we have a library there with all kinds of books and also the community sharing their experiences. It's when I was mentioning this in the private portion of our call earlier about how people can do all the reading they want, but to then embody it, to take the knowledge that you read and then actually put it to test and embody it. And that's really when you discover the proof of this modality, is to actually do it for yourself. Um, and that's also why it's so important that we share, because this is a solo journey in many ways. Everybody's healing process is different. The plasma goes hunting in our bodies for what needs to be healed, and it's not always what you think it should be. Often it's not, and things that we're unaware of, and detox experiences that are so different from each other. And even in how we take plasma, the detox can be symptoms can come up really quickly. When I got my nebulizer and I started nebulizing, wow, that threw me in. I mean, I approach my nebulizer like with caution now. I'm like, hey, 5 minutes, maybe a couple breaths, because I want to be able to function the next day. It really throws me into a hard detox. So yeah, really interesting. And how much aged? Yeah, it really varies, but I actually like it more. It's like the fresh I use to kind of hydrate, to quench my thirst, and the
By the
aged,
way, the question is how much age do you drink in average every day?
yeah, I wonder about that.
Just so that if people are listening, they can't see
Right.
that you have to read the question.
Sometimes 250 ml, I think, would probably be average. Sometimes more. But yeah, I like it. I feel like I'm getting more. When I drink my age, I feel like I'm just like really getting more nutrition into my body. It feels much more powerful. And we're also cooking with our fresh. So, yeah, it's another way for me to get that nutrients in me and not have to rely on consuming so much fresh. So, yeah, there's like kind of a mixed answer there. Did you want to add something to that, Lee?
Yeah, so one of the main method I was taking aged before, and I still practice this, was through enemas and through the skin. Um, the skin aged is washing, right? So it's cleansing. It's gonna thin out the skin. It's gonna take the oils off the skin. So it's not, you can't use aged on the skin like it's going to moisturize the skin in a sense, but only to a degree. If you want to moisturize the skin even more, the age has to be boiled down to 1/3 or 1/4 volume. Um, and yeah, the enemas are a really good route. Actually, there's been a PhD study that hasn't been written out that gave excellent results with a 5 milliliter basti of aged. Because people don't want to eat it or drink it, they can just put it in through the back route. And then I started drinking aged because I had all this plasma. We were gonna move out, and this traveling thing does that. And I felt like I wanted to get some like my blood back into myself, right? Because it cost me life force to create that, and now if I don't put it back, I'm in a deficit. So I started drinking it, and I just some days I drank a pint. It really knocked me out. Not all in one go, right? You can't because it's too strong. It'll burn the stomach. I have burnt myself on a wound that I applied too much age on first. It's very alkaline, so it can get a layer of your gum skin off if you wash your mouth a lot with it. Not that it's very harmful. It's just a warning. And I started drinking more aged because I realized that if I put my herbs and my spices in there for a few hours, I can taste and get the effect. Magic mushroom is a really good one of my herbs, much more than any other method. The coffee tastes better when it's made in fresh plasma, and I'm sure that you could taste coffee to a different level if you put it in the aged. I haven't tried that because coffee is not a specific. It's not very medicinal because it's quite toxic. But yeah, you can try all kinds of things. People have tried lotus, blue lotus, which is a dreaming herb, and they've had amazing dreams. It won't work with cannabis because cannabinoids are not water soluble, but it will work with things like opium and coca and tea. Anything that's water soluble would be very well extracted by aged. And just even not warm, just leaving it in there for 2 hours. Moringa powder is amazing. Chili is really good, especially with headaches. If you don't know, a good way to come off coffee to go through the withdrawals of coffee when you get a headache is to have some chili. So that's how we started drinking age, and then we started drinking each other's by accident, and we really didn't mind, and it just kept going from there.
Yeah, I love the aged. Actually, that's a really great way to introduce the aged to yourself is actually take some turmeric and black pepper and mix turmeric and black pepper in with your aged and let it sit for a few hours and have a sip of that. It Some of the infusions really take away that like sharp bite from the plasma. They take that away, especially a moringa, as Olivier was saying already. So that's another really interesting way to experiment. And then fresh rosemary in aged plasma is really beautiful. Also, or lavender. These cold infusions, you'll taste the plant like you never have before. Like you could just do black pepper and you will taste the black pepper it to new depths. It's really amazing. So you can use like a coffee filter to filter out the plant material. So you're just drinking the aged, but uh, even a tea strainer is good. Another question concerning teeth.
Yeah, so someone's asking about the teeth and the enamel. Actually, it's positive for the enamel. It's like I said, it will seem to attack the gums, but it helps the teeth to build enamel. It will also loosen artificial fillings. People have lost their fillings because the plasmas. I don't know if these will be uncemented faster. They're supposed to last 30 years, um, but they might be unstuck quicker by my plasma use. So I don't know. I'll see. Gold is the most compatible metal in the mouth, so that's why I picked that, the healthiest. Yes, so it's very good for your mouth. Swishing is said to reverse cavities. Yes, the plasma will rebuild your teeth over a long time. So, should we close that up?
Yeah, just before we finish up here, I did a long, this is a while ago now when I was really new to uh, plasma therapy. I held it in my aged in my mouth for quite a while. And like Olivier was saying, all the inside of my mouth, the skin like peeled off. It was crazy experience. I was kind of freaking out, but everything felt fine after that awkward part of it went away. Um, it was all right. I don't really swish like that long anymore. Before I brush my teeth, I'll like swish with aged, and then I actually brush my teeth with coconut oil, and that feels really good. And then I'll sometimes swish a little bit with aged afterwards, and yeah, my oral routine is it has variations, but yeah, beautiful. So yeah, wrap up the live stream, and we'll go back to the community members. If anybody wants.
Sorry, I cut you off there. Um,
It's okay.
so the Mother Spirit community can be found on different platforms through the website motherspirit.creom.net. Um, I can be found on many platforms, Gold Dragon, creom.net, and Joanne or Anna can be found humphreys.creom.net. Uh, we also do custom times if someone's interested to go live with us um, about topics that are connected to the Mother Spirit, such as Shivambu, yoga, and so on. So feel free to join us on any platform. Like I said, the next meeting will be in about 5 days. We will post a time on the different platforms in the groups. And yeah, so now we'll go off the live. And if anybody in the members is in the StreamYard link, which we share with our private groups, they can talk to us and ask questions and talk about private things that we will not disclose. So yeah, feel free to join. Feel free to hop on right now, even if I'll check on Telegram to see if somebody's joining, and they'll be able to see the link. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. See you soon.